Hello and welcome to the Last Word on Spurs, your award-winning Tottenham Hotspur podcast. Apologies, we are slightly later than briefed here. Jason McGovern's back. Jason's back, so you know the watch is very much in demand. Keeping me on brief he is. Look, thank you so much for joining us. We are better late than never. We are here in the build-up to summer, we'll say, will be the biggest game of their season. For me, it's everything on the line, as Jason knows how important the cups are to me. We are here. It is the big match preview. Tottenham Hotspur against Manchester City in the FA Cup fourth round. It feels like it should be a quarter-final or a semi-final. Dare I say, Pep actually called it like a final earlier in his press conference, I would say. Look, joining me, these guys in their introduction. I'm delighted to have Jason McGovern back alongside me, the lovely Christina Zandes and the brilliant Achillea here as we build up to Man City to come. Now, many of you will be listening to this show on the commute in the morning or on the way to the ground. Guys, get excited. It is a massive, massive game. I have got to say, I've got a very funny story from Jason McGovern that I'm going to bring into this show very, very soon. But before I do, let me bring in the panelists. These are the guys that, go to the games week in, week out. They are in the stands, on the pitch, maybe. Who knows? Listen, Jace, I'm not going to age you, mate. It's lovely to have you back alongside me here. Look, massive, massive game for Tottenham Hotspur. Before I get into City and all that to come, just firstly, Jace, what does the FA Cup mean to you?
FA.
Don't you dare start me on that. Genuinely tell me, what does it mean to you, the FA Cup?
As a kid growing up, it was enormous. It was almost seen as more glamorous than winning the league. But it has been, we can't get away from the fact it's been dumbed down in recent years. I mean, we got a cup tie being played tonight on a Thursday night, for God's sake. And it's stretched out all weekend. And in the early rounds, you get squad rotations and 8 changes and things like that. So it just, unfortunately, the Premier League and the Champions League have just overtaken it. And it's it probably doesn't really feel like it gets going until the quarter-final, semi-final stage. But, it's 1991 since we won one, and we need to break that curse, mate. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Now, look, Chris, you've been on here many, many times this season and before that, stressing how important it will be for you to see Spurs win a cup. As we're now on the eve of the game, for those listeners on audio, it's less than 24 hours. Give me your thoughts on just how important this game to you is in the context of Spurs' season.
Feels like Christmas Eve right now. Honestly, I'm so excited. I don't know why I'm so excited for tomorrow. I took the day off. Like, I'm literally going to be there all day in the pubs. Like, I just can't wait. This is what the FA Cup should be about, though. It should be that build-up of excitement. Like Jason said, even my age, I remember all of us, my family, getting so excited. No matter who was in the final, we'd all, sit around and watch the final because it was just such a big deal for football. And I feel like that is the magic of this cup. And honestly, I feel like this season we have such a huge chance for it, and I just hope tomorrow goes super well and we go out strong. And yeah, because the fact that we're even playing Man City, we've got to play the big teams. This is how it is. So this is football, and I'm really looking forward to going tomorrow and seeing what we can do. So it's a big deal. It should always be a big deal, FA Cup for Tottenham.
Yeah, I've got to say, tickets now really are at a premium. I mean, that game sold out ever so quickly, and even for those that have ticket holders, it doesn't automatically go obviously onto your ticket application as such in terms of your season ticket. It has been really, really hard to get tickets for it, just as a nature. I believe City got around 9,000 going to the game. So look, it's going to be an absolutely cracking cup tie. One man also that's going to be there is George Achillea. George, mate, give me your thoughts on how big this game is for you personally in the context of the season. Man City, the holders, Spurs, of course, under Ange. Look, it's going to be a real nightclub fever there. Give me your thoughts on the game for you itself.
Yeah, for me, to be honest with you, growing up, the FA Cup, I think, sort of lost its magic a little bit. It wasn't something that was seen as prestigious when I was younger. But obviously, I back in the day, it was a massive, massive tournament. And I think as I've gotten older, I know it's so important. And I think it's more so the fact that we haven't won anything in a long time. We can't take these games for granted. And it used to frustrate me so much with the amount of times we'll just rotate a team. Even just as recent as like Conte last year, saying that we need to rest the players for Wolves at the weekend in the league, and then we're going to lose that anyway. Like, it just kills any momentum. But playing City this early, I think is better than having to face them in the final. You're going to have to beat a team like City, if not City, to win the FA Cup. And I would much rather play them at home early on in the competition than have to play them at Wembley, where, to be honest, that's been their stomping ground the last few years. So I'm really, really excited, and I think it's we've gotten to a point now where it would be almost disappointing if we lose against City with the amount of times we've beaten them recently. So it's a huge one just to prove that we've still got it.
Absolutely. Now, look, Jace, don't I age you?
Can I just compliment George on presenting this from the garden shed? Look.
Just for a little greenery.
I'm delighted to see. I thought we was playing in Nottingham Forest for a minute. The way I could see all the trees behind him.
just a reminder of the day job, Jace. Right? Never a moment away from it.
Dear, I'm going now. I've seen enough. I've been surrounded by plants all day, for God's sake.
Sorry, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Cannot get out the greenhouse. Can't. Look, Jace, don't know age you, but I am going to take you back to over 20 years ago now. Man City completed, in the neutrals' eyes, one of the greatest ever comebacks at White Hart Lane. For our younger listeners, you don't need to worry, guys. You wasn't around to see it. But Jace, you was, and so was I. That 10-men Man City pulled off an amazing FA Cup comeback to earn a fifth-round spot at Manchester United. Spurs leading 3-0 at half-time. Ledley King curled open the opener. Robbie Keane slid in Stephen Carr's pass, and Christian Ziege fired in a free kick before half-time. Spurs going to the break 3-0. Joey Barton, mouthing off at half-time, saw a second yellow card before Sivan Distan got a goal back. Paul Bosvelt gave them hope of a deflected strike off Anthony Gardner. Sean White-Phillips levelled it before John Macken. Now, I don't know if John Macken... John Macken, I feel like now, has got a trivia based on this, but it doesn't ever come up unless it's a Christmas party or like a Christmas trivia quiz. Got the winner. Jace, take us back to your memory, horrendous memory of that game, where you was, and for our older listeners, what that was like.
It was actually the start of 4 mad games of football, because we played City. I think we had Portsmouth at the weekend when we signed Defoe, and I think that finished 4-3. Then we went to Charlton and beat them 4-2, and then we had Leicester that finished us 4-4. So, 28 goals in 4 games. But I did a business trip, was down in Sydney, listening to it on the radio at God knows what time of the morning it was, 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever. Got up to listen to it, happy as Larry, we're 3-0 up. As you say, they're down to 10 men. When the radio picks up that they've had a bloke sent off, I'm thinking, perfect. I'm on the phone. I used to go with a girl then to Tottenham who works with me, Julia. And she was in the crowd. She was in the stadium. And I sent her a text, get in the queue, because it was a replay, wasn't it? And next round was Man United away. And I'd said, get in the queue for tickets nice and early. So we've got our tickets for the Man United game. And then just listened in utter disbelief at what was going on. And I can remember thinking, how the hell have we lost to 10 men? But all the time just thinking, thank fuck I'm in Australia and I'm not having to be anywhere near all the surroundings that go on with it. And then the following morning, through comes the Sydney Morning Herald, front page, Manchester City stage greatest ever cup comeback. I fly to Thailand that night. I've got a Spurs shirt on, check into the hotel porter instantly says, you Spurs fan? Yes. How did you lose? You scored 3. How you lose to 10 men? And just for the next hour, as I go to my room, he's just yapping constantly about how Tottenham have lost this game. And I'm thinking, I came the other side of the world to get away from all the follow-up, and I'm getting pelters. Come down the next day, I think we signed Defoe, on the Friday night or something, and he played a Portsmouth game. Come down in the morning for breakfast. You signed Defoe, but why you don't sign defenders? You've still lost to Manchester. It's like, can you shut up, mate? Please, leave me alone. Leave me alone. Fly back from eventually, when I eventually came home, I landed at Heathrow on the Sunday morning, and I dropped the case off at home, went to White Hart Lane for that 4-4 with Leicester. Probably one of the coldest games I'd ever been to, having come from the heat, just sitting there in the middle of February, like shivering, watching Gary Doherty's, remember his bicycle kick own goal?
Could have kicked him out of both boxes. Get him out of the boxes.
I think Defoe rifled in the equaliser, didn't he? I think Defoe
last
one
second.
into the roof of the neck, didn't he, for 4-4.
Yeah.
But what a crazy 10-day spell of games, 28. And then I think we only scored 1 goal in our next 6 games after that.
So Spurs. Yeah.
Madness.
Yeah, I say so Spurs. We actually can't stop scoring for fun at the moment. I think we're on this consecutive run of, I think, is it 30, 34, 35 games of consecutive run of scoring goals, which is great. But look, there you go. A little anecdote from Jason there. It could be worse, and we're in a good space at the moment. I think, again, the build-up for this game is, electric. And obviously, we've heard on the back of Andrew's presser that James Maddison is available for this FA Cup tie. A hint that maybe he may start the game. And Andrew was obviously asked to go into a bit more detail on that. He said, look, team news-wise from the last game, everyone is okay. Decky has recovered. The boys had 4 or 5 days off last week. Maddison has been in training. He had a full week of that. Ben and Dane have started with the group. Gio, Mana, and Alejo are the only ones still away from it. Sessegnon still in rehab. Many won't be surprised to hear that with Ryan Sessegnon. We're hoping next week he'll rejoin the group. But of course, it does come Maddison into the squad as a big boost for Spurs, given the fact we've still got Pat Matasar, Yves Bissouma both away. And of course, Sonny, who has obviously qualified today. Didn't like he was going to qualify at one point, but South Korea coming from behind to win. So it'll be a while until we see him. New signings, Timo Werner and Radu Dragashin could go and have their first start for the football club. Chris, to come round to you. Maddison, of course, the headline news have been potentially available to start the game. How much, Chris, do you want to see this guy back in a Spurs shirt? Because let's be honest, the last time he was in a Spurs shirt, Tottenham, I believe, were top of the league, unbeaten in the first 10, and quite literally flying.
Oh, man. This is going to be hopefully the first time we see, is it Maddison, Bentancur, and Mickey van der Ven all play at the same time?
Potentially,
oh, my
yep.
God. I actually thought that Maddison has been all right for a while because I generally believed he was going to play for the United game, but supposedly he had an illness, which was the thing that stopped him. So I thought he was going to be ready for that. So I'm hoping that Ange actually puts him on straight away because I just want us to come out strong straight away. Like I don't care. So sorry, the whole Holberg comment has just come up. So yeah,
we'll never forget him.
Oh, never
Legend.
forget that show. What a hero. So yeah, I am super. This is one of the main reasons. I mean, that I can't wait to go tomorrow is to see Maddison. I'm absolutely so excited to have that creativity back, which we have been lacking ever since he's been injured. I cannot wait. But like I said, with those 3 players, Bentancur, Maddison, and Mickey van der Ven, to see them play for the first time, all 3 of them together, I think is going to be super, super exciting to see what we can do. And for this Man City team, of course, let's be real. I know they haven't got Haaland, but they're still going to be a bloody strong team. Kevin De Bruyne, what a player! I think it's just going to be an all-round great football game, like all-round great football. So I'm really, really excited to see what we can do tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, George bringing you in. I mean, Andrew's fairly subtle in his pre-match presser in relation to whether he'll start. He said that he's available and he is ready to start if need be. He's had a good week of training under his belt. And went into detail and said, look, he is fine. He's available, ready to start or not. We'll have to see. When somebody's available, you assume they are ready to start. Whether they do or not depends on what I see in relation to the rest of the training session later that day. But he said, like I said, the beauty of it is that he's had a full week and he is ready to go. So, George, $1 million question. Do you throw him in from the start?
Absolutely. I think it's impossible not to. He is so important for us. And I think the same sort of way that Van der Ven and Bentancur almost got thrown in, Bentancur in particular got thrown in sort of out of the blue. Maddison just makes that midfield tick. And I know we've had great moments with Kulusevski coming into the middle. But when you're missing Sarr, when you're missing Bissouma, you've got to have that creative outlet in midfield. And that will allow Kulusevski to also go out wide and sort of switch things up during the match. And I think with someone as amazing as he is, and if he's been training all week, there's no way you don't start him in this game. I think it's going to be so exciting to see him back again. I'm buzzing.
He's got a certain aura about him, hasn't he? As a character. I mean, Jace, how much have we missed this guy? I mean, that creativity that we've, no disrespect, we've seen Lo Celso. We just can't keep that guy fit. At the moment, you're lucky if you get him 1 in every 4 games. So just purely from a creativity perspective, how much more enjoyment will he bring back, given the fact those first 10 games, I mean, it was an absolute breath of fresh air. And let's be honest about it, I think we have to say, it's been very difficult to replicate those first 10 because of the nature of the ins and the outs that we've had. And we haven't really had a settled team since that first 10 games, Jace.
Yeah, it's not just him, is it? You're right. It's getting Van der Ven back. It's getting Bentancur back. you know, Maddison, I mean, Bentancur just sublime at Old Trafford. Just that couple of little touches from him round the corner when he's got so much time and helps you beat that press and things. And Maddison's that final piece. We just now need Sonny back as well. And then you start to think we're starting to get back towards what looks our strongest team again. So he has been a big loss. I think he's been a big loss, not just his ability to play, but his personality in the team. The way he always demands the ball, even if he's having a poor game, he's one of those players that always wants it, takes pressure off other people by doing that, doesn't care if it comes to him in tight areas. And you just feel that there's more confidence in the team, more ability to play in and around the opposition box and keep the ball. So it's a big comeback. I think like Jules says, why leave him on the bench and gamble on being 2-0 down or something like that and thinking, well, can he play 30, 35? Play him from the start. And if he's knackered after 55, then you take him off. But give him the chance to set the game rather than have the game already dictated to. And then you can try and ride the crest of the wave, hopefully, that you're on. But, you know, the first thing I thought about the tie was I think it was Gary Mabbott did the draw, wasn't it? And it was just brilliant for us.
It was
Gary Mabbott giving us a bye. We got our little bitch slap team. I mean, unbelievable. Couldn't have had a better draw. I thought, please don't get me Chelsea. And he pulled out the one draw I wanted. It's perfect for us. Absolutely perfect. I think there's a thing. Since Pep's taken them over in North 17, not obviously not the 2 Wembley games, I think they've missed 3 penalties in North 17 and hit the woodwork 8 times and still haven't scored a goal. That's ridiculous, isn't it?
It's
absolutely ridiculous.
Does it not worry though, Jace, at some point that has got to change at some point?
Yeah, but we say that with the Chelsea game and it never does it? As we saw this year. Similar
to like we played
every time we go to Anfield. We were 3-3 last year and conceded straight from the kickoff. So I'm expecting a 3-0 home win and it's job done into the next round.
Oh, mate, from your mouth to God's ears. You know, I really do hope. Wouldn't that be a lovely feeling to be in a situation where, you know, we are a couple of goals ahead and we can just enjoy the rest of the cup tie? I mean, it would send out a statement, wouldn't it? I mean, coming over to you, Chris, you know, to beat Man City, the holders of the competition, because I've said this before, you know, you guys know what the FA Cup means. It's for me, it's the competition I want more than anything in terms of domestically. You know, I've seen us go out to, and we all have, we've seen us all go out to lower league sides with no disrespect to Spurs. That's been the hardest thing, I think, seeing us go out to the likes of, no disrespect, Nottingham Forest, I mean, Colchester down the years, Sheffield United, we make 7 or 8 changes. You know, the one thing that Spurs can't do in a game like this is they can't afford to make 7 or 8 changes, or it could be a cricket score. So is there a feeling, Chris, for you that the one thing we know we're going to get tomorrow night, to some degree, will be hopefully our best available 11 open to us? And the one thing under Ange, I think he has learned from the League Cup, obviously that Fulham exit, we're going to give this a right go, aren't we? And we're not going to go out without a fight. Do you feel that, Chris?
Just that Fulham game, it still to this day really winds me up. But at the same time, I just really hope Ange learned his lesson from that game, because it was a terrible, you know, that lineup at the start. So hopefully he has. I mean, from previous FA Cups, he's gone in strong. So that's what I'm feeling. He's going to go in for it. He knows how important this is for us. He knows how important this is for the club. And yeah, we've just got to go in all guns and blazing. And to be honest, I know it's Man City, but they're going to be the ones that are going to be more terrified than us. Like, I think that's what Jason said as well. They just have some bad luck going to our ground. And the fact that we're playing this at home as well, it's just kind of like we need to make this luck, build it up, because it's there. It's right there. So we just need to get the job done, basically. And let's do it, like, you know, professionally, because I really do. I can't tell you how, honestly, I can't keep telling you guys how excited I am for this game. And I don't know what it is. It's just, is it just the magic of the FA Cup? I don't know. But the fact we've got Man City early as well, I think if we get that done, to me, that seems like we're in a damn good race for this trophy this season. Yep. So, you know, I know that Chelsea's still in it, but you know what? That's just how it is. So let's just get this job done tomorrow, and let's go out there and proper smash them in. And like Maddison coming back now, it's just all going to be great. I'm so excited. I can't tell you guys.
You make a point there, Chris, bringing you in, George. Like Christina says there, you know, Arsenal already out the competition. One of Chelsea or Villa are going to have to exit the cup as well. It does feel, do you feel, George, it does feel bigger than just a 4th round tie? I mean, it does feel like a a quarter-final or a semi-final, because just the feeling around it that if Spurs do mentally get through the hurdle of Man City, which I know Jason might think and laugh at the fact I say that because of our record against them, but I just think the mentality point of that then it would be so Spurs, though, wouldn't it? We beat Man City and then we go out to Wrexham away. It would just be so Spurs. But I do just have that feeling, George, the confidence that it would give this group of players to get past the holders, to get past Pep Guardiola. I know, obviously, Grant will come on to City's injury situation in a minute, but do you think, George, mentality-wise, how big would it be to get past City in the FA Cup?
I think it's huge, especially this early on, because what I've hated about us in the past is we get these so-called easy draws, like you listed, your Sheffield United, your Forest, whatever. And I feel like it's almost given, the manager a license to rotate the players, thinking, oh, okay, we're Tottenham, we've clearly got better players, we can put some second string in there and we'll be fine. It hasn't worked for the last 4 years in a row. Is it the quarterfinals we've gone out every time the last 4 years?
Yeah. Yes.
And I think as well, maybe on the players a little bit, it's a bit like, oh yeah, well, it's only Sheffield, it's only so on and so forth. We're fine. Whereas playing Man City this early, he's going to have to go full strength. I think that Fulham Carabao Cup knockout was probably a blessing in disguise with Ange very, very quickly learning that our squad just isn't there yet. And it's going to take a year or so to build that. We're already starting to do a good job this January. But I think the fact that if we can go out at home on a Friday night under the lights, beat Man City this early on in the competition, realistically, they're the one team you're looking at in the FA Cup as the absolute favourites. You've got your Liverpools, you've got your Man Uniteds and so on and so forth. But you look at City as the set point of, if we can beat them, we can win this competition. Get it done now. No excuse not to play the first team for the rest of the competition and actually go and win our first trophy in God knows how long. That's how I view it anyway.
33 years, George. 33. Far too long. Honestly, too long. I mean, Jace, do you have that same mentality feeling? I know, again, you feel quite buoyant going into this. And bearing in mind, I've been on with you for a lot of Chelsea previews. Your feeling about this is the complete opposite. And I understand why. City, like you said, Jace, I mean, they won't really want to play Tottenham. I think many City fans speaking to them this week, they're suggesting that for them, it's the worst possible draw. They're dreading it, to be honest, City fans. I'm not sure whether the players are the same. I mean, again, Man City players, you've got to be honest and say that they are so formidable in what they've done over the course of the last 3-4 years. And Pep the same. I mean, I don't know if City have that as a group, that fear of going to Spurs. It does feel like they've got, again, I haven't done very well. I mean, Pep said that earlier today, that for them, it's a final and it's tough at Spurs. We have played well there, but not scored there yet. And they've been better than us so far. And Pep's been fairly honest in his admission in relation to going into the game. So where does this sit, Jason, in terms for you, if that we were to beat Man City? Do you have that genuine belief that we could go all the way?
I don't know. There's a long, long way to go. I think, Liverpool away, let's be honest, our record at Anfield is horrific, isn't it? And there's, we always have that Chelsea curse. And I genuinely believe before we win a trophy, we will have to beat Chelsea in a meaningful game. Right. Like we did in 2008. I don't think we'll ever get there unless we've done Chelsea in a quarter-final or a semi-final or the final. It's just we have to get over that hurdle, that mental block, and maybe a little bit City of not because you always have different teams, have different players as years go on. So it's not like that entire Manchester City side have got used to it. But there's just this hulu that's there, isn't it? And I'm blasé about it. I don't necessarily mean it to be as blasé as I do, but no, it won't be a case of just beat Manchester City and I think Tottenham are then amongst the genuine favourites to do. You just go round by round. That's the big thing with us, I think, that we have to learn is don't get ahead of yourselves. So you beat Manchester City, you're in round 5. There's still 16 teams in round 5. We could, like I say, you could easily get Liverpool away, or even Liverpool at home is not an easy game. You can pull Man United away and we still can go there and win. So there's a lot of difficult ties that you can have beyond Manchester City. I think it's just, I'd sooner have Manchester City at home than Liverpool away. It's as simple as that, or Chelsea, as I've said. But no, I certainly don't think your odds on to win it just because you've knocked out Manchester City. But I think it is a big tie for them. Number one, one of the big differences this time, they'll have 9,000 tickets there. I think they've said
9,000. Yes.
So that's and they've sold their whole allocation. So that's gonna give them much more of a boost than they usually get there. And I think Pep kind of going down the line, they're not in a great place in the league to what they want to be. They are trailing a little bit, and they've still got Tottenham away to come as a Premier League game. They've already dropped points to Tottenham at home. And I think Pep will realise the importance of trying to get a win at Tottenham before that Premier League game comes along, to get that curse or to get that thing out the way. I mean, imagine if they were to be knocked out at Tottenham and still don't score a goal tomorrow, then that just rolls forward, doesn't it? And you subconsciously, it's not that I think players take the field, they're confident. I'm sure when our players take the field, we believe we're going to beat Chelsea. But that thing that as soon as something goes wrong, it's like, I've seen this movie before, I know how it ends. And it just kind of sucks all the life out of you, doesn't it? But, you know, Sonny's been a big slayer of Manchester City. He's not there. So I'm sure that will please them. But, you know, I think we're still in with a great chance. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, look, Jason, I want to ask you, obviously, from what we understand from Pep, now, people take this two different ways. Some feel that he might be guarding this, or I don't know. Look, he has said in his pre-match press conference that Man City will be without Erling Haaland. But just to be very, very clear, what he said in terms of the wording, he said, look, he's not ready, but he's close. Training camp was good. Trained some sessions. The last few days he's trained, but he is not perfect, and we wait a little more. Now, whether he's doing an Ange, like we've seen the last few weeks, where Bentancur's come back, Sessegnon has come back, I don't know. But, I mean, many of the journalists in that press conference took it as though Haaland will not be available. How much of that is a boost for Spurs, given the fact that he hasn't actually played since the 6th of December? He does remain still clear at the top of the scoring charts, though he did draw a blank when the two sides met earlier in the season. I mean, he has managed to score against Spurs in his 3 games so far. A decent record he has. I mean, he's only managed to score once, I should say, in the 3 games he had against Spurs so far, but hasn't scored since the 4-2 win in January of last year. So how much of a boost is that for Tottenham if Haaland is not there?
Yes and no to me. I mean, as you say, he played there last year, didn't score, didn't really do anything. And in fact, he missed a hatful of chances in the draw at the Etihad just before Christmas, didn't he? I think he missed 2 or 3 glorious chances. So, and the difference, I suppose, with them is that there's still Alvarez, there's still, you've still got Foden, you've still got De Bruyne, you've still got Grealish, Christina know that Grealish is playing. You know, there's so many talents, isn't there, at Manchester City that, you know, I think we'll miss Sonny more than they'll miss Haaland, put it that way. I think there's a big difference there between the two. But, you know, I don't mind if Haaland plays. I think, like, you've got to beat the best to win the competition.
Yep.
You know, and I want us to go. I don't want us to beat Manchester City and for them to have 6 players missing. I want it to be a meaningful win where you beat their best team. And that's how you judge yourself. If you beat their best team, you know you deserve to be in the next round. If you beat 6 or 7 reserves, there's always that thing of, well, didn't really play Manchester City, did you? So just bring their best players and play that way.
The one that has always stood with me, Jason, the 10 plus years I've known you, over a decade. God, I should get some fee. I should get some reward for that, shouldn't I? Over a decade. One thing I should always say is in the 10 years I've known you, the one thing you've always said to me is, Rick, whenever we're in a cup, you're gonna have to beat one of the big teams on the way to winning it.
At least one, if not 2 of them. At least one, if not 2. It's as simple as that. We're never going to have the luck to be playing, I don't know, Scunthorpe in a cup final, or not Scunthorpe, but Crystal Palace in a final, or
Arsenal had hold, didn't they?
Yeah, but we won't have that luck, will we?
Yeah, no.
We'll never get that. You know, when you look at it, you know, for all the flack that Poch takes for losing finals, we lost to a Chelsea side that won the league that season.
Yeah.
We then lose to Liverpool that got 98 points that season, lost 1 league game and won the league the next season. And then our 3rd final, if you like, when Mourinho was sacked, was against Manchester City, who won the league. So, you know, we haven't lost a final to, you know, since the Blackburn days, if you like, of, when was it, 2002? You know, we are going to have to beat at least 1 and probably 2 of those really big sides to win it.
I mean, Chris, when I say to you Haaland's out, how much of that is a boost when you consider Maddison is available and could start? I mean, does it for advantage Spurs, or is that mind games being played there around the camp?
Just like Jason said, it's just either way you got, like, they're still a strong team either way to me. Like, you know, Kevin De Bruyne, I'm scared of him. He's an absolutely class player. So if Haaland's not there, I'm worrying about him. So it's just, it doesn't really matter. But again, you've got to beat these big teams and you've got to do it well. So it's such a, how do I put it? But you know, if you want to, I would love for Tottenham to go and win big like this, so that we can actually say we've beat these huge teams, enable for us to get this trophy. Like, I think that's such a big deal, because I hate when people say, "Oh, you've had all the small teams; it's been an easy run for you."
Yeah,
I don't like any of that. I want this to go like, I want us to be on hardcore, on hard level. So yeah, and I think with this, like, it's not even near the quarterfinals yet, you know. So to me, I think this is the way to do it. You know, get all these big teams out in the way. You know, I'm sure there's going to be more to come, like you guys said. You know, with Liverpool, and probably Chelsea's the one that does do my nutting, because I've, like Jason exactly said, every game that I've been to where there has been, it's been like a trophy. You know, I think it was the semi-final of Chelsea.
Which one?
We played Chelsea.
So many,
it was the one that was at Wembley.
The Son left wing back.
It's always a semi-final, isn't it, with them all the time, and we always get absolutely, like, it's not even battered actually. It's
Chris,
just,
we always, the thing is with Tottenham, we always play the name. We never play the 11. We always play the name, and maybe you can say it's similar to City. They play the name with Tottenham and actually play the 11 there. I mean, Nuno beat them. Nuno
even beat them. Yeah, literally. It's ridiculous.
Crazy,
I don't know if it's a mentality thing. I honestly have no idea. Well, I think it's a mentality against Chelsea all the time. I always stand by that. It's ridiculous, and we need to sort that out as soon as possible, because we can't allow teams like Chelsea at the moment, who, in my opinion, are absolutely terrible right now. They're just completely mucked up, and we can't allow something like that to ruin this whole thing.
And they're still in the cup final.
I know, and they're in the cup final. Exactly. How? I don't know. And if I dare to even see
to be fair,
with that team,
I've already winning. Jason, we've already had this chat, me and Jason. And Jason,
I told you at the start of the season, didn't I?
Jason, yeah, you said to me, Poch will get him to a cup final. I won't tell the rest what he told me, because it really upset the viewers. Bring you in, my man. Look, Haaland, you know, how much is that a significant blow for City, given the fact you look at their array of talent? They've still got De Bruyne on the pitch. They've still got Grealish coming back. I must say Edison as well is set to be back in the squad for this one, although Akanji is out. Thoughts, George, in terms of the team going into this one for City?
Haaland, I think, to be honest with you, Pep is just an absolute genius. Like, we've seen them play for years without a proper striker, so to speak. We've seen Bernardo Silva play up front, and they've absolutely smashed the league. So I think whether they have him or don't, they're still going to be an extremely difficult team. However, I actually sort of want Haaland to be ready, because I remember Romero relishing the game against him last year at home, and I want him to be up him again. I want to give him no space. I want to give it make sure that he gives Haaland a tough time, show that we seriously mean business, and then we can beat him tomorrow. But look, like everyone's touched on, Kevin De Bruyne is one of the best midfielders the Premier League has ever seen, and the fact that he's back with it coming off the bench the other week or whenever it was, absolutely spraying the passes, scoring unbelievable goals. Like, he's an insane talent that we obviously can't just think about lightly. Even Foden's in amazing form. Alvarez won the World Cup last year, and has had an amazing season, mostly creating chances, but still a very good goal scorer as well. So look, it's going to be a tough game no matter what, but I just love the fact that we've got Van der Ven back, Romero's back, Udogie and Porro are having unbelievable seasons this year. We've got a great team again with all these injuries. It's just a shame we don't have Son. I think that would have been the real nail in the coffin of the confidence in playing City. But apart from that, I'm super excited to see what we can do against these teams. You have to beat them. You have to. There's no choice.
Yeah. You know, John, George, you bring up Son there. And the thing is, Jason, you trawl back through this fixture. I mean, Son, I actually saw something you actually, I think, reposted on your X account, that you look at Son's big goals for Tottenham. They've come against City. They've come against Liverpool. They've come against Arsenal. You know, that guy's a big game player. I mean, as we're sitting here talking about, how much of a misses Haaland for City, how much of a misses Son for Spurs in this fixture, given that he's been so extremely pivotal in this game, in regardless of the competition, Champions League. I mean, thoughts on it, Jason, for you?
Well, I think one of the big things that Sonny is when you, I think when they do I hate the stat, the XG stat, but I think his goals per XG is one of the best above his level of XG. And the thing is, in Manchester City, you're only going to get maybe one or two really good chances in the course of a game. You're not going to, I know we've scored 3 and such against City, but it's not often that you tear City to pieces, is it, and end up with 7 or 8 clear-cut chances. So
no.
You feel like when they come, you've got to be ruthless. And Sonny, in fairness, has been, and also the style that Sonny has of that ability to run beyond that line that City play high, and Sonny's the one most likely to run beyond it. And then when he's through one-on-one, his record of putting the ball in the back of the net against City, he's embarrassed Edison a couple of times, because a couple of those, certainly one in the Champions League and the one in the 3-3 draw, Edison perhaps should keep out, but he squeezed it in. I remember the goal in the Champions League first leg at Tottenham, which was ridiculous, when he stopped the ball going out of play and just kind of dribble around 2 or 3. But he's the one person that is ruthless with his finishing against City. You can't have Richie or Brennan Johnson missing 3 or 4 chances between them, because you don't get that many good ones. So that's where Sonny is a massive miss for us. The most ruthless finisher we've got.
Chris, for you, where will the game be won and lost? We talk about obviously Sonny missing. We talk about Haaland missing. Obviously, De Bruyne is still there for City. Grealish is obviously back in the squad. Where is it going to be won and lost for you?
What is it going to be a loss if we do?
Well, I'm asking where do you feel the game will be won and lost in terms of, will it be a midfield battle? Well, of course it will be. But is there any specific areas where you look at and think we are a lot more weaker compared to City? Yeah. In the stand, but you know what I mean. The reason I ask that question, Chris, is that defensively, you could argue that Spurs have got their best defence available to them now. They've got Dragoshin that could come back in. The midfield, if you said it earlier, as you think it might be, having the likes of, you said, available Maddison potentially to start the game alongside Bentancur, for Spurs, we haven't yet seen this midfield trio that we're talking about. I mean, obviously I bring in Mickey van der Ven as well defensively to that. I know obviously we haven't got Sonny, but when you look at the two sides, is there a lot between them? I mean, again, many are suggesting that our front three could be the only thing when you compare it to City. But again, they've got no Haaland. So I just wonder whether you feel this game could have a weakness or a positive in terms of both of the camps.
We should be more than capable still to win them, in my opinion. To be honest, Richie at the moment, he deserves a shout out because he's been doing really well. So he's one of those people, if we've got that creativity at the moment in the midfield with, Maddison, like you've all just said, then Richie should be able to finish these off. With Sonny, I was going to say, though, what scares me with him not being there is the fact he is our captain. Yeah. And I think he would drive us really well if he was there tomorrow, because his confidence when he plays against City is another level. And I think that's where he would bring that boost to the team. He would, give that confidence back. But I think even if Sonny isn't there, though, Richie's on a good roll at the moment. So there's nothing that shouldn't stop him realistically. I still believe, and I know I've had so much criticism with my Brennan Johnson comments, but I still have full faith in that guy. And again, tomorrow, if he is in the first team, this is another huge chance for him to show us what he's got. Because I really, truly believe there is going to be something within that player still to come. But yeah, I feel like I need to mention with Richarlison more, because with that, if we've got our creativity going on, then Richarlison should be there to be able to finish, those shots that we can. I don't think we should. I feel like Man City and Tottenham tomorrow, I'm really trying to be careful with my words because I don't want to bring us bad luck tomorrow with the result. But I just feel like we should really be...
You can tell Chris has been here for a Chelsea preview, can't you?
That's what I mean. I'm really scarred for life for that.
Absolutely scarred.
But it's just, I don't want to be putting us down, because I don't think we should be put down. We've still got a strong squad.
Of course,
and I think we need to believe in that. Like, what's the point in supporting your team if you don't believe in them? So
absolutely,
I just really feel like we shouldn't be downgrading ourselves. I know we're all it's Man City and big, but look at they haven't scored a goal at our new stadium. They've struggled so many times. This is a huge opportunity for us, and let's just go with it. I mean, we're having a great role right now. We've got Ange, we've got Big Ange, we've got us, the fans. We should all be there,
I mean, that atmosphere tomorrow, Chris. I mean, bearing in mind, as you said, how hard it is to have got a ticket. I mean, it's going to be absolutely nuts in there, isn't it? Let's be honest about it. It's going to be an unreal atmosphere. I must just say, shout out to Spurs Song Sheet. We haven't got one drummer. We've got two in there tomorrow. It's gonna, or today, I must say, for our listeners on audio, today for those that are listening, there's 2 in there tonight, Chris. Right? It's gonna be absolutely ruthless.
I actually need to mention it because I know Tim mentioned it to me, but he's at the Shelf Bar tomorrow, guys. I'm going to 100% be there because I've been begging him to do an Elvis Presley song because I'm a huge Elvis fan and he's going to do it. So please, I'll be there singing.
I love the fact they'll play Elvis and suddenly there'll be an absolute, everyone will leave. Everyone will get out of there.
Just be me in the middle dancing away.
It'll be the quickest time, suddenly. Everyone will be in there before kickoff. Everyone will be there for the pre-match. George, bringing you in. Similar question to you want to ask, George. Where do you generally feel the game we won and lost? Because it does feel maybe different to what we've seen this season. Whether you agree, George, I feel City may have more of the ball than Spurs, which, to be fair, Spurs have dominated possession for the majority of Andy's time here. I mean, Jason seems a bit unsure on that, but where do you see the battle being laid out in terms of the game for you tomorrow? Where would it be won and lost?
To be honest with you, people might call me crazy, but I genuinely think it depends on Werner's performance tomorrow. More specifically, Werner's link up with Richarlison tomorrow, because as we've seen, like if I'm just picturing Spurs City matches and where we've won the games and where we've scored goals, a lot of the time it's been in transition, very quick counterattacks. So they've committed a lot of defenders and their midfielders forward. Majority of the times it's been Sonny's through one-on-one, we get a goal, or even Kulusevski's there to finish something off. He loves the game against City. The problem is, obviously, we don't have Sonny this time. Kulusevski might be playing in midfield if Johnson is obviously playing as well. And I think what we're going to have to do is utilize Werner's pace, but Richarlison's finishing, because we all know that Werner's finishing, especially against Man United, was some of the most interesting shots I think I've ever seen in my life. So, but what I've also noticed is that, especially when that ball that Skip laid through to Werner against Man United, he is quick and he's able to provide with some assist. He might not be the goal scorer that Chelsea thought he was going to be with the money that they spent, but he can definitely create a lot of chances for us. And I think we're going to have to effectively moneyball this game and hope that Werner plus Richarlison makes up for the fact that Sonny is quick and can finish. We sort of need those two to work really well together. And obviously Johnson helping on the other side as well. So I think it's, can we be effective in these transitional moments the way Sonny would be if he was playing, or if Kulusevski is going to be playing further forward? That's why I think it's going to be important. I've got faith in the defence. I've got faith in the midfield. It's just, can we be clinical when we attack? If not, it's going to be a struggle to win the game if we can't finish those. Like Jason was saying, there's 2 or 3 maybe big chances you're going to get against City.
I think as well from the Man United game, we deserve to win the game. We should have won the game. I think what I noticed was both in Werner, which I suppose isn't a surprise given given how his career has gone since Chelsea, and also on Brennan Johnson. The two of them got into some really good positions. I know Werner made the goal for Rodrigo, but it was a simple pass. But they just looked like they were both short of confidence, both lacking a little bit of conviction as to that real spark you need. Just that thing of dropping it, like Sonny can, drop a shoulder, bend one, something like that. Just that really bit of penetration that you need. Werner dragged a couple of shots, didn't he? Johnson kind of scuffed one and things like that. I think this is a game where you've got to play with real conviction, belief and confidence. And that's hopefully Richarlison's got that to make up for one or two of the others. But that's another thing that Maddison does bring, doesn't it? He just brings belief and confidence in everything he does. And don't underestimate a set piece that Maddison can put on someone's head as well, which is another chance for you to do something which we haven't always had in his absence as well.
That's when Richarlison's key as well. Richarlison in the box, in a header, whether it's a Porro or Maddison delivery, that's going to be a good time to try, a good chance, to get some goals. It's tough because they've got a lot of big players, your Rodri's, your Diaz's and so on and so forth, but corners will be a good chance to score.
Werner gets involved as well heavily. Like, I think it's so hard to judge him so quickly. Like, he was fully involved in that Man United game either way. So that's what I mean. If he's working hard on that pitch, then God knows what else he can do. So even if it's not him scoring goals, if he's getting some assisting, I'm more than happy about that.
I agree. It's all just about it's what more he can bring to the field. Go there, Jay. Sorry, go for it.
Oh no, just as George said, I did see something on Sky in the week. I think they gave the heights of the squads or something, and Tottenham are the second or third biggest squad,
Yes.
which surprises you. And I think people that watch it just think Son's smaller, but Sonny's about 6'2", 6'3", isn't he? It's surprising how big even Sonny is. So we actually have got
Even Bentancur's a lot taller than him.
Bentancur scored a few
seems-
important headers for us. Yeah, it's important for us.
Jace, this might feel really idiotic or illogical question to say, but given the fact that you say this to me all the time,
Don't ask it.
how important is it we keep 11 men on the field? You always say to me in these big games, right? You always say to me, these big games, it is about keeping discipline, not doing anything stupid. Now, bearing in mind, I feel this mood that we had here, guys, don't want to kind of, go back in deja vu, but this is a very similar feeling that we had ahead of the Chelsea game. Jace will disagree because I know, again, you hate Chelsea as a fixture. But I remember that Chelsea game at home. A lot of us were really, really excited. It felt like at the time the biggest game of the season. We're here yet again now, 11, 12 games later. We've got a similar squad available to us, bar Sonny. How important is it discipline is kept, given the fact in that Chelsea game, we lost Romero, of course. We lost Udogie to both red cards. That's got to be the message, hasn't it? That the team took all that Ange gives. We want them to run through brick walls, but not literally. Does that make sense?
I mean, you can maybe get away if you're 2-0 up against City, if you're hanging on for 5 minutes at the end, going down to 10 men or something. But you can't be asking to play City with 10 men, not the way they use the ball. And Udogie also picks up too many yellows, and it's something that they've got to just make sure about him as well, because I've loved everything he's done for us, but even he has that little moment of madness, as they said in the Man United game. Why did he even run the risk of picking? Who did he pick up? I forget the player. He picked him up in the box, didn't he? Who is it? Garnacho.
Yeah.
And in the days of VAR, I'm not saying it was a foul or something, but that gets picked up and suddenly you've got a penalty and there's nothing you can do. And I think tomorrow's game is VAR as well, isn't it? Because it's 2 Premier League teams in a stadium, so we'll get that. So you've just got to be a little bit careful and play with it, gamecraft, use your intelligence, play with a bit of composure. Yeah, you want to make your mark and win your first tackles and things, but don't get booked for stupid things. And that goes to the whole team as well. No stupid shirt pulls or anything. You just can't run the risk. Because one thing that people don't understand about Pep, and we know that from his Barcelona days, he's very clever at getting his players to play to the referee as well. We see it with tactical fouls. How Rodri and Fernandinho have been able to do that all over the pitch and get away with it time and time again. And we're stupid enough to do it in one key area and then immediately go down to 10. So absolutely, you've got to keep players on the pitch. And, Liverpool. Look at Liverpool, unbeaten all season. They've only lost to Tottenham, I think, in England. And what happened to them? Down to 9 men.
It's crazy.
So, exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You can't go down in these games early on and play games with 10 men. That's for sure.
No, you can't. Now, look, interesting ahead of the game. And was asked the Spurs in a good place to attack for the title and the FA Cup on the back of Maddison, Van der and Romero being reunited. He said, look, fair to say, Sonny, Basuma and Papsar were pretty decent at the start of the year as well, and they're not here. It's great to have Madders back and Mickey and Christian also available, and they've had a good couple of weeks training. It just helps our training. It helps our general ability to prepare the boys for the challenges ahead. So we've obviously gone through quite a difficult period for quite a while with the key absentees. And while the results are obviously not what we wanted, I think our performances were at a good level and the players were really embracing what we're trying to do. We've set ourselves up now for hopefully a really strong finish to the league season and a good cut run. And was asked, is the tie from hell or opportunity to beat the best? Where do you see it? He said, look, neither, mate. It's a cup tie. If you go into any cup tie thinking you've got some sort of advantage, whether that's against a team in a different division to you or arguably against the best team in the world, you shouldn't change your attitude. It is the beauty of the cup as it produces upsets. They produce upsets because maybe you don't take the same attitude. So for me, it doesn't matter who we play. Every game, there's only one result, and that will help you advance, and that's a win. Irrespective of your opponent, that is what you have to do. Now, look, I've got to agree with that point. And, it was asked, Ange, on Man City's record at Tottenham Stadium. It's well documented. He said, will that be on Pep's mind or the players? He said, look, I've got no idea what's on Pep's mind, mate. No idea. I very much doubt that. I don't think anyone in the game looks at those things too closely to predictor of what's ahead. It's fair to say that it's been a fair chance of a team that there's over a course of a season, many things can change. So I'll be surprised if there's no goals in the game. But I think it'll be a great challenge. It should be a cracking game. Both teams are looking forward to seeing how they will match up. And just on that point about matching up, guys, I just want to bring up the teams for this one. Now, look, the predicted lineups here, these are what was in the previous games. Obviously, Spurs' side against United. This is for listeners and audio. We're just displaying the lineups previously to what these two teams had. And obviously, of course, Newcastle played Manchester City, obviously, with City's a lineup there. I just want the guys asking you, maybe starting with you, Jace, how different will these lineups look ahead of the game for you in the evening? What can you see changing?
Well, I certainly think Kulusevski plays, and probably in place of Johnson. I get the feeling it will be in place of Johnson because he'll play naturally Werner left. I'd be surprised if Skip and Højbjerg both start as well. So I think that's, and we certainly won't see Brian Gill, Santiago and all that on the bench as well. So I doubt we'll have two goalkeepers. But Kulusevski for me will definitely play, and I think particularly if Maddison starts, Kulusevski's playing on the right-hand side, so Johnson will miss out. But, like everybody says, I think Johnson's a player that we've bought. I'd have liked a little bit more from him so far, but it's ridiculous, some of the criticism he's taking. I think, Johnson's going to be a fine player for us in years ahead. How long did Gareth Bale go without winning a game for us? Was it 23 in about 2 years?
20, that's right, yeah, 23, 24.
So,
yeah.
And let's be fair, when Kulusevski and Bentancur played, I think in their first game against Brighton, was it? That was an FA Cup tie, and Kulusevski was immediately written off as too slow. He won't suit the Premier League and things like that. Don't forget, Sonny came just to sell shirts. That's all he's here for. So I don't think Brennan Johnson's got to worry too much about, he hasn't scored 25 goals by this stage of the season. There's plenty of time. Don't forget Harry Kane, who wanted bang average Harry Kane in the team over Adebayor. So,
Can I also just say, Jace, I don't think Brennan Johnson would have played anywhere near the amount of minutes had, of course, the injuries we had not happened. He would have been bedded in. No. There's no way that guy would have. I think he's played like 11 or 12 on the bounce now. And I think that's the key. That's a guy there that I think was meant to really have been, nurtured him fairly slowly, give him minutes, here and there, 15, 20 minutes, maybe come off the bench, got really good pace in him. And I think that's the one thing really that maybe hasn't really been in his favour, that maybe he's played too much and been overplayed because we haven't had the ability to be able to change him.
I think as well, he's played quite a lot of games left side, whereas he's better, I think, on the right-hand side as well. So just give him time, like I say. Yeah. I mean, if we've not learned that at Tottenham, how many players have needed time to settle in? And things like that, just to, most of our team have done that, haven't they? Let's be honest.
They have. They have indeed. Look, again, I think this is the real key, isn't it? When you look at the two sides, and George, just to ask you on that question, we look at the previous lineups from the last respective league games. I mean, George, is there any obvious changes that you see both sides making? Of course, we know Maddison's back available for Tottenham, no Haaland for City. Any mass changes you'd imagine? I presume, obviously, City will sub the goalkeepers. You'd imagine Ortega is going to probably start. He is their cup goalkeeper. But apart from that, any other changes for you, George?
Yeah, I think obviously there's been a massive discussion on Twitter today about our midfield and whether we would see a Bentancur, Maddison, Kulusevski midfield. And I think Ange is mad enough to try it, because at the end of the day, it's no different to Man City. Obviously, not on the right-hand side there, but Kovacic doesn't usually start. Usually, you're talking about like a Rodri, Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne midfield. Two very attacking midfielders alongside Rodri. There's no reason why it can't work. The same way everyone in the summer wrote off the fact that we can't play Porro and Udogie because we can't have two attacking fullbacks in this team, otherwise we get slaughtered. And now they're looking like the best pair in the league. I genuinely think a Bentancur, Maddison, Kulusevski midfield could work. And I think Ange is mad enough to try it. And why not try it against the Man City, who play a high line, who are going to give us plenty of space to play these passes? You're going to want Kulusevski and Maddison creating in the middle, passing it through to the quick players. But then it's so easy to interchange it as well. Put Kulusevski out wide and cause problems out there. It's what I like about the versatility that we have in the team right now. Even in a way, Werner could come in and be a more supporting striker instead of just an out-and-out winger. There's so many options that we can go for in the game. I think it'll be really exciting to see that sort of midfield. And then obviously Christina's favourite, Grealish, might be starting on the other side. That's why she's got front row tickets. So we're gonna.
If Grealish bloody scores, Chris, don't you dare come in for post match.
Exactly. No City shirts on the pods allowed.
She'll be fine. She'll be a few lagers down. Be fine by that point, I tell you. My God. Before I bring Chris in, just to give you the form guide of the two teams, that of course Spurs. 16-year streak at the moment without a piece of silverware. It is far, far too long. I mean, this comes on a day in which we've seen Spurs. I think 8th in the Deloitte for the highest spending, or in terms of being one of the richest clubs, or 8th richest club in world football at the moment. I know many looking at that. I heard Simon Jordan earlier on TalkSport saying, got to be giving credit to Daniel Levy. I think, again, look, I think this season there's been a lot more of a positive feel around the hierarchy, because, I mean, I think the fact that Spurs have done a lot of the business early that we've been crying out for the last 16 years. I mean, I think it's the first time we are coming out of a window where arguably we are not under strength, but we're actually improving what we've got, which is quite nice. I will just say, look, it's still a week to go of that, so I don't want to go too overboard on that until we get past the final week. But in terms of the guide of going into the game, of course, Spurs did advance against Burnley during that third round scrap, and it was a scrap. Pedro Porro's moment of brilliance putting Spurs through. I mean, I think no one would ever want to see that game again. Spurs, of course, they come into this game on the back of that 2-2 draw against Manchester United, where arguably many will feel that was a really big missed opportunity for Spurs. Could have gone away with all the 3 points. For City, in terms of their guide at the moment, look, they're trying to commence being back-to-back FA Cup winners. I believe trying to follow in the footsteps of Newcastle United. They put 5 past Huddersfield in the previous round to see them earn this draw away to Spurs. Coincidentally, they did beat Newcastle United 3-2. Of course, Kevin De Bruyne back amongst the goals, back amongst the squad. And I think it's fair to say, look, as we said earlier, despite no Haaland, this is a very, very good City side. This is a side that are, Champions League winners. They are FA Cup winners. They're Premier League winners. Done the treble last season. They are very, very, you can't argue, despite no Haaland being there, we are going to be facing one of the toughest City sides that are around, despite arguably saying they're a bogey team for Spurs. In terms of the head-to-head between the two clubs, which is quite interesting, Spurs in all comps, 66 wins. Man City, 66 wins. The draws, 37. So are we going to have someone overtake the next team, or are we going to a replay? We're going to ask the guys in a second for their predictions. Important I tell you this, Paul Tierney has been selected to the referee to be the man in the middle for this clash, I would say. VAR, this is the problem we've got now. This now becomes a headline. On the VAR, Tim Robinson, support VAR, Jared Gillett, and assistant VAR, Simon Bennett. I will say the last time Tierney...
They still get it wrong.
Doesn't matter who's in that Stockley Park. Tierney last referee the Spurs game, and we lost 4-3 away to Liverpool at the end of last season. So many could argue we're due a bit of luck. Right. Many people have a go at me for not keeping this show to a length of a decent time. We are nearly there. Before I get these guys' predictions, just very quickly, I will just add that we've heard from Ange Postecoglou today in relation to potential incomings and outgoings. And Jace, don't worry, we're not steering towards a transfer window update. Don't you panic. But Ange did say that in relation to what we're now at the window, that he said we had obviously announced a couple of different options that we got over the line. But yeah, we're still, as we say, still open for business in these last 10, 12 days. So we shall see. It does appear that Emerson Royale is a man he would like to keep. He said from his perspective, he's hugely important to us. Without Emerson and Ben during this period, we would have really, really struggled, not just playing at centre-back, but also filling at right-back at times, left-back at times. He's a great guy to have around the group. He trains really hard. He's a quality player. He's in the Brazil national team. So Emerson is an important part of what we're doing. Just to bring you up to the very, very latest, we do understand that Brian Hill is in negotiations with Brighton over a potential loan move. No information yet as to whether that is an option to buy in there or whether that's just a straight loan for the rest of the season. It is worth me adding that Hill hasn't been a regular under Andy's side. He's just clocked up 217 minutes from the 10 games. But we do understand between now and the end of the window next week, he is still destined to stay. Right. Okay. It is prediction time. Oh, you guys are terrified. I tell you what. Can I just say, where's Ricky Norwood when he's on the bloody ice and he's not giving 5 new Chelsea prediction wins? Where is he for these ones, Ricky Norwood? Love you, my man. Lovely to see him progress in that first stage of Dance on Ice. I've got to say, we're all hoping Rick didn't do a Spurs and go out under the first round. But Ricky Hatton took that crown, I must say. So, Rick, keep on doing what you're doing, mate. We're going to see you very, very soon. Chris, we're going to open with you. You guys are all going to be there. So, let's get some predictions. Oh, this is... Oh.
You starting with me? Oh.
Well, I thought if I start with you, then by the time we get to the end, no one will remember what you said, Chris. So they'll all forget. No one will remember this.
Oh, God. It's that Chelsea one. It scarred me, man. Oh,
We got bloody Ian Ricky on the most positive, optimistic panel. I thought I'd try and give some balance to bring Jason on.
Honestly.
But he seems bloody confident to begin with.
Oh, I don't even know. I don't know if I should do this or not. Okay. Oh, I feel like, oh no, I don't know. This is horrible. I am gonna go for a 2-1 Spurs.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for a 2-1. Yeah.
Chris, thank you. Worth me adding, of course, the game could go to a replay. So I will just throw this in now. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a draw. I think it'll be a 1-1.
But the thing is, I don't want to draw.
No,
I
no.
really
Listen,
don't want.
but you take a draw. You take a replay of it going out, wouldn't you? You take a
It's
replay of
just-
it going out.
Oh yeah,
you
but
would.
it's just
Of course you
it's the pain of me to sit through another
Of
game.
going back up there. Well, listen, we haven't got a terrible record at the Etihad. You know, I don't know whether Sonny will be back for that. Actually, that's one thing I'm not sure. If Korea obviously continue to progress all the way to the final, it depends obviously when they will sanction the replays, which I would imagine will be
Usually 10 days, isn't it?
yeah, it's only a week after next.
Usually
So
a week after next.
yeah.
Well, apparently they've got Saudi Arabia next, so it's a tough game for them.
Go on, I mean, what's the bigger game there? Tottenham or Saudi Arabia? Ever think about that? I tell you.
God, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. On the back of that one, George, we'll come over to you next. I'm going to go. So just to be clear, I'm going to go for a 1-1.
Okay, I'm going to be boring as well because a 2-1 is always like a safe option, but I had it in my mind the whole time, only because it's about time City will score at the ground. I think tomorrow's the one. They've got more fans. We play a much more expansive high-line football. I think that they're going to get chances to score, but I've still got to back us, man. I like the fact that we've got so many players back. That it's an exciting team. I think we're going to create a couple of good chances, but I can't be going into the 3s or 4s because we don't have the Sonny there to finish it off, and it's Man City at the end of the day. But I've always got to be confident, especially being at home, floodlit Friday night game, set the tone for the weekend, and I think Spurs 2-1 is just the simple answer. To be honest,
It's the safe one, isn't it?
It's the safe one, but
it's the safe one.
But it's going to be close no matter what. If it's 1-0, 2-1. It's not going to be any whitewash by any means. So
I've got to say, George is lucky he doesn't do this weekly. They bloody remind you, George, if you don't get the right predictions. So George is right. Yeah. They'll tell you in the stands, George. Lee Smith, bless him, shared this to us here. Asia Cup final 10th of February. So probably be touch and go with a Son. Will be back if it goes to a replay. I said it because Son's got such a great record at the Etihad that you'd want him, of course, if it does go to a replay at the Etihad. So look, George going for a 2-1. Chris obviously following that trend as well. Jace, you started the show very, very positively and very buoyantly about our record over City. But as the show's gone on, I know you said that it's all a bit blasé, and obviously we know it's going to be a very, very tough game with all that experience of knowledge and pain that you shared at the start with your story. Jace,
so you don't believe we're going to win 4-0 then, no?
Mate, I would love to think we can win 4-0.
That would be a dream.
Wouldn't that be a dream? Wouldn't that be a lovely feeling to cut the goals up? Wouldn't that be a lovely feeling to cut the goals up and be able to sit back and relax and enjoy it?
No. We can never sit back and relax 2 goals up. Never. Not in any game.
Even 3-4 up, we can't enjoy it. You're right.
Definitely not.
I do think the way we play means surely City have got to score there at some stage. It's got to come, isn't it? And yet, like I say, 3 penalties and eight times they've hit the woodwork. And you think every year, well, they must score this year. They must score this year, and they still don't. So I don't even think they've scored in the warm-up yet, have they?
Give them that one for tomorrow. Just don't let them score inside the 90 minutes.
I think I caught one of the balls in the stand.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for a typical Mad Ange game, and I'll go 3-2 Tottenham.
Wow, okay.
Nice.
Okay.
I mean, you're right. I mean, we sit here and we think City are that good, and you don't get there. And yet, 4 against them. We scored 4, won a 4-1 game, didn't we? Yep. Scored 3 against them in the Champions League at the Etihad. Scored 3 against them this season. Scored 3 against them under Conte. You know, for just some bizarre reason, even
Stellini's beaten them, hasn't he? I mean, Conte was
Stellini's beaten. I think everyone has them.
Oh my God!
What I like is that we actually have someone like Dragushin to come on now to do this whole like when he brought him on to be 3 at the back to sort of set our game. If we're 2-0 up with
what you mean when Romero? You mean when Romero takes one out of him in the space of the first 5 minutes?
Yeah, as a backup. Yeah,
it's always we've got so many options. It's great. That's what I'm looking forward to. All these options. Can I just shout out to the Tottenham women? They've just scored. They've just won 3-0 against Southampton. Yeah, in the Conte Cup. Yeah.
Well done to the women.
The Conte Cup.
Can't get away from that bloke, can we? We can't get away. I'll tell you what. Well, listen, we are going to finish on the point that if Spurs, you all have said it there, you all are telling me Spurs will progress. If that is on the basis that we do, Chris, we'll start with you. Can we win it if Spurs do progress?
Yes, we can. Of course we can. We just need to believe in it. We need to believe.
Very true. That it is about believing. I mean, Jules, would this give you the absolute confidence that if we draw a Wrexham away, or whoever, like I say, the lower league sides are in the next round, Spurs won't be Spurs and go through?
Give me the harder teams. I think
Really
the
want
lower
that,
teams,
yeah?
the lower teams are where we fall under. Give me all the hard teams now, and we'll face whoever in the final.
We don't want Anfield away.
No. But I think we're all Palace. Not Palace. Sorry, we're all Villa fans for this round.
Yeah,
so,
we are.
So that we don't even have to think about facing Chelsea.
Or Chelsea again.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen in this.
Look,
Yes.
Man City getting through, beating Man City this early, it sets you up to have a good run. Obviously, we can't be naive. Like obviously, Jason, everyone's mentioned so many times your Liverpools and whatnot. We still got to potentially face them, but beating Man City sets an amazing tone, not just for the FA Cup, but for the league as well. We've got to go on a really nice run now that we've got relatively good fixtures until April. So I think it sets a good tone.
The other thing is you got to take advantage of having pretty much once Sonny's back, of having that best team available, because let's be fair, we've used it as an excuse all season since that run where but we're missing him and we're missing him and we're missing him. So when you get them all back and you've run out of excuses, you better start winning games of football regularly then, haven't you? Because then you've got no excuses. So once that, to think we're going places like Old Trafford with no Sarr, no Bissouma, no Son, no Van der Ven start. Did Van der Ven start at City, United? He did, didn't he?
Van der Ven did start, yes. Yeah.
You can't constantly say we're missing six players. When you come back, you've got to start doing the business. So, we have to take advantage of our best team.
Oh, come on. I mean, Jace, can we go all the way? I mean, you tell me all the time, as I said earlier in the show, you're going to have to be one of the big boys on the way. If we do beat City, is that the confidence boost we need to go all the way and win this bloody thing?
Can we? Yes, we definitely can. Will we is a different question. Can we? Yes. Will we? Who knows, mate? Depends on the draw in the next. I hope Chelsea get Liverpool at some point.
Oh, please. Look, it is the magic of the Cup. So a massive thank you and a lovely message coming here through from Aaron Underwood, bless him. Ricky and the Last One Spurs crew, absolute champions. But come on, only one show a day. You could do better than that. Well, that's why Jason's taking over. Seriously, thanks for all the hard work.
Sydney, look. Last time I was in bloody Sydney, we lost to City. Go away, Aaron. Quick, go away.
Aaron, thank you for all your support. Guys, thank you. Look, we are on the eve of the biggest game of Spurs this season. For many, of course, the FA Cup. For those that are on their way to the stadium, guys, enjoy it, soak it in, be that 12th man. Timmy Winston, James Black, go and do your thing, guys. Make that place absolutely rocking. Chris, thank you so much. We'll speak to you on the other side. Hopefully we are through, right?
Don't worry. If whatever happens tomorrow, I'm sure I'll message you guys, whatever it is. It's literally going to be two of my men fighting out for me, Pedro Porro and Jack Grealish on the pitch. It's a beautiful day for me.
Well, if you're going to be in the pub all day, it's going to be an interesting season.
I'm not drinking, so I'll be all right. I'm not drinking.
I've just seen that message, Rick, about Love Island. You better go, mate. You're missing your favourite programme.
ITV1 Plus Extra, mate. No, ITV1 Plus 1.
You got to record to see it right.
Mate,
okay.
Mate, look at this month. It's bloody lucky I've got catch up. This bloody January window. You're lucky you're not involved in it. Listen,
it's about the traitors, not Love Island.
Oh, come on. That's another debate. We can't be doing this on this show. I bet all the Australians, bless them, and all the Koreans are thinking, what are you guys talking about? Just stick to the bloody football, will you? Jules, thank you, my man. Always a pleasure. Where can we find you, Jules?
Thanks for having me on. Love being on the show. And just George Achillea across everything. We're doing fun little videos here and there. We're going to be all over socials tomorrow for when we beat Man City. Come on, let's do this.
Amazing. Jace, thank you, mate. Like, you've never been away, and it's Jason McGovern across everything. Is it Jace? Jace across everything?
Whatever, mate. Whatever. I'm watching the cricket in a minute.
I love this man. I've had 10 years of Jason. I could have 10, 20, 30 years more. I love this man back alongside me. Guys, thank you for all your support. Look, been a cracking show. Let's hope we're back with you after full time, talking about the right result. From the wonderful Christina Zandes, from the brilliant George Achillea, from the superb Jason McGovern. We've been the last word on Spurs. For those that are going there, sing your absolute hearts out. Take Spurs through to the next round of the FA Cup. From us all here, guys, keep safe, keep well. And as always, come on, you Spurs.